Hi, everyone, and welcome to How to Pitch to Morning TV Shows. I'm recording this because I think I did a bit of a stuff up in the one this morning. So, how to pitch to morning TV shows. Oh, now I've just got to find out why it's not showing the slides. All right. So the first thing is, why would you even, here we go. Why would you even choose TV? Well, TV is a bit of the holy grail when it comes to PR, mainly because even though pay TV these days has changed the landscape of TV a bit, free-to-air shows still have got enormous reach. And when you can get on there for free, it's definitely worth trying. TV is also great if you want to be able to demonstrate your product, because obviously, being a visual medium, you can actually show people how it works. And of course, like all the other types of PR, it's essentially free. You don't have to pay for it at all. So, what sort of costs would you be up for if you were to go to a TV show and buy the time instead? Well, look, these figures are a couple of years old, but I think they give you a very good impression very quickly of how expensive it would be. So, it's pretty much out of the reach of most small business owners these days if you were to advertise, but not if you're to get on the show as sort of the editorial or as the story. So, why morning TV in the first place? Well, if you're trying to get to women, morning TV is incredibly powerful, particularly those shows between 9 and 11. It's got a huge skew towards women, lots of retirees, and lots of young mums, or mums with young bubs, I should say. So, they are the main audience, and then you have people who are on night shifts and things like that. But very, very good and powerful way to get to women. So let me tell you the story about Liz, who is a woman I worked with a couple of years ago. She had written a children's cookbook called The Junior Gourmet, which was voted the #1 children's book in the world in Paris that year. And she obviously wanted to get the message out, but she really was desperate for TV exposure. So we came up with an idea where she approached the Today Show with an idea, and this is her on the show, that she would bring on some kids and show them how to make some recipes on air. So that's her book over on the far right displayed. You've got Lisa and Carl kind of interacting with the kids and with her. And it went so well, in fact, that she asked if she could come back again, and they asked her to come on in the next school holidays. So I think she got 3 or 4 gigs out of this one, just with this idea of teaching kids and having kids cooking classes actually on the show. So, how do you get on TV? Well, there are 3 main ways that you can get on TV, either with the gift guides, or with product placement, or by getting an interview, which I think is the one that most people think about. Now, I covered off gift guides last week, so I don't want to go into any huge detail with it. But if you want to get a product into the gift guides, you just need to be aware that they do them every Christmas, Mother's Day, and Father's Day, and that you'll need to get them a product. And this layout is often how they do it. So they will put the gifts onto a table or a coffee table, and someone will go through them one by one, demonstrating them. Now, this was a product that I was working with, the City Grill, which is the little barbecue that he's got sitting on the desktop. But it works really, really well, and it's a great way to get exposure. Another way to get on TV that a lot of people don't think about is product placement, which is where you go to the TV show and you ask them, if they've got a baby that's just been born, would they like a bassinet? If they've got somebody who loves cooking, or mums, that you can give them products that either people can wear or use on the show. Now, the difference with product placement is that you go to the art department. So this is actually the same barbecue company. I got the barbecue onto Neighbours. What we did was we rang the art department and said, would you like a barbecue? And they said, yes, we'd love one. And you literally just deliver it to them in the hopes that they will be able to use it. Well, what we didn't know was that they actually decided to do that for the opening credits for Neighbours, which ended up showing in Australia and in the UK and all that sort of thing. Now, product placement doesn't normally directly result in sales, but what it does is gives you more presence and gives you bragging rights. So while they may not have got a whole lot of sales for this particular product out of the fact that it was in the opening credits for Neighbours, they certainly could have done a lot on social media and in mainstream media and to their customers and suppliers and retailers to let them know that it's now being featured on Neighbours. Okay, and then the last way, which is the sort of holy grail that everyone's looking for, is to get interviewed. And this is the gorgeous Laura Picardi, who has done our PR boot camp and within 3 months managed to get herself onto the Weekend Today show. Now, again, not a massive audience watching the show, but boy, oh boy, does it give her credibility in social media. Means that she can put the clippings up on her website. She can link to the Channel 9 Today Show website to show people the link as well, and then take still shots like I've done. Now, what I've done is I just recorded it on my TV, on my laptop screen, and then pressed print screen a couple of times and just downloaded the screen grabs that I'd got. So that's one way that you could do it. The other more blurry shots earlier on are of me taking a photo of the show while it is on TV. Okay, so there's usually two types of formats for TV. One is in the studio, and this is by far and away the most popular one. You need to be aware that most of the studio shows are based out of Sydney. Studio 10 used to be in Melbourne and the project used to be in Melbourne, but I'm not 100% sure whether they still are. So as a rule of thumb, you need to think that they are based out of Sydney. The other way that you can get coverage, if you can think of a reason why they should come to you, is you could get a package, a pre-recorded package, which is where they come and shoot you at your work or at your event. And then they show it on the show a bit later on. So this can be really effective, but you need to give them a good reason to get out of the studio and record. So if it's an event, it's a bit of a no-brainer. If you've got, something that's happening outside like a food truck, again, a great idea to get them to come down. And I would also say don't forget the weather segments on those morning TV shows, because they often cross to the weather presenter on location somewhere. And if you can give them a good reason to, you could suggest that maybe they do it on location at your event or at your place of business as well. Okay, so what do you need to get ready before you go to the TV shows? Well, the most important thing is that you need to try and think outside the box of something that will work visually. Because yes, you can offer yourself for interview, but if you can offer yourself for interview and that you'll demonstrate something or show something or do something with the presenters, that makes it even more attractive to them. Now, if you're going to need models or someone to demonstrate your products, then you need to bring them along with you. They won't supply them. So I've worked with a few clothing brands, and we have, especially children's clothing, and I have put my own children on as the models, or my nieces and nephews. And the same if they're going to be adults, then think about it. You need to provide them with the models. However, that makes it very attractive to them that there may be a little catwalk show on the show or something like that. You also need to be prepared to get to the studio yourself, because they are not going to pay for you to appear, and they're not going to pay for your transport to get to the studio. So do factor in a flight and some accommodation in Sydney. You need to I would normally try and get 3 or 4 bullet points down as notes before I call. And then I would go through those when I call, and then some additional information, which would normally be your media release and or any supporting material that you've got that you'll be able to send through after you've pitched the idea. So then you have to think, well, what's the angle, in the same way that you do with anything to do with the media. Now, in this show, this is the angle was that it was for what's hot or what's not, which is on the living room. And Miguel is actually holding a shopping trolley that my business partner, Simone, who's now running our old agency, Handle Communications, had pitched to the show. And it's like a gadget that has a whole lot of bags hanging off it. And so you can sort of pre-pack your bags as you're going around the supermarket. Anyway, they did vote it as hot, which is great. But look at that great visual cues that he can come on with them filled as if he's come from the supermarket. And it really works for the audience. So if you are thinking that you want to get on TV, I want you to try and think creatively. They're not going to be terribly interested if you're just pitching a product unless it's for a gift guide. So for instance, I'm working with a woman that at the moment that weaves cushions out of animal hair. One of the things I suggested to her is, why not bring along a cushion and the animal that it's been made out of? So she's got some poodle hair that she's woven into cushions, she can bring on a poodle along with the cushion, which would just make it a lot more fun for the audience and for the presenters. The other thing is, if you have products, can you personalize one for the presenter or presenters? So I worked with a beer brand a few years ago, and it was custom label beers, and we worked with the producer. We didn't tell the presenters, and we actually created a custom beer label for each of the presenters. And during one of the ad breaks, they actually went and put it on the desk in front of the presenters, who then, for the next sort of few seconds, minute, whatever, were raving about, whoa, look at this, my beer, and oh my God, look at the picture they've chosen, and all that kind of thing. So we got some great publicity out of that. Just on that note, don't forget also the last part of the news is always interested in a light-hearted story. So that's the segment at the very, very end that is often ducks crossing the road or some feel-good story. The news is always open to suggestion for what that might be. But in general, offering a story idea that includes the presenters is a great way to try and get onto TV. And the other thing is, can you offer a different perspective maybe on something that is commonly used by people that we just wouldn't have thought of doing it that way? So what do you say when you speak to the TV producer? Well, the first thing is you call and ask for them. I have been speaking with a couple of journalists this week who said to me their pet hate is if they answer the phone and go, "Hi, I'm Wendy Squires," and then somebody will say, "Oh, hi, is this Wendy Squires?" Just cut through that. Ask for the producer at reception. You can always call the media outlet. We've got a load, obviously, in our PR platform, but you can call the media outlets such as Channel 10 or Channel 9 and ask for the producer for Sunrise or the producer for the morning show. When you get through, you want to run through those bullet points that you wrote earlier, because you're only going to get maximum 2 to 3 minutes to capture their attention. So you want to get to the point very, very quickly. Practice a couple of times if you're not sure before you get on the phone. The other thing that I always do is say, wow, I'm so glad I got hold of you because I've got a really good idea for your cooking segment or for your whatever it is segment, because immediately they will prick up their ears kind of going, oh, well, if it's a great idea, I better listen. Then you need to explain your idea really concisely as fast as you can, because you've got to get them across the line and get them interested, and then you can all start breathing a sigh of relief and you can expand on it. But initially, you just need to get your idea across really quickly, and then offer to send them through an email with the info, because they will need it in writing what your idea is in order to go and pitch it to the executive producer. So the other thing I really wanted you all to realize is that TV producers, despite the name, are not scary at all. Most in morning TV particularly, it's their first job often. So they're very young, they're very open to ideas, they're very enthusiastic, and they're very friendly. So don't be scared about calling them. In most TV shows, there are what they call segment producers. So there will be a segment producer who'll be the gift guide producer or the cooking producer or the lifestyle producer. You can ask for those if you know that your story is going to, or your idea is only going to fit into a certain type of segment. And if you don't know, then try the supervising producer, but be aware they are very, very busy. So what they're probably going to do is listen to your idea and then say, I'll get someone to call you, or suggest that you pitch it to someone already. So the supervising producer is your last resort, but normally one of the producers will pick up the phone anyway, and you can explain the story and ask them if they're the right person to speak to. Okay, so I really want you to give it a go. TV is nowhere near as scary as you think it might be. At our last PR Accelerator, we had 3 people who pitched during the afternoon, and all of them managed to get on. It's really not that hard. Just practice what your pitch will be and then get on the phone and call them first. Mainly because with TV producers as well, they are very, very busy, and most of them prefer a phone call first to just pitch the idea, and then they'll look out for your email if they've asked you to send it to them, as opposed to sending it willy-nilly and just hoping they'll see it, because they probably won't. So if you want to give it a go, one of the ways to do that is with our PR platform, where you can create and manage unlimited PR campaigns, and it steps you through the process. I have got tips and advice on every page if you get stuck, both about how to use the page and what to do in terms of PR. I have thousands of media contacts on there for mainstream media, and they are constantly updated. And also, if you get any bounce backs, you can send them to us and we will then update them for you. But we're pretty good at the moment, considering what's been happening in the media. I think that they are pretty spot on. We have a very easy to use media release template as well on the platform, where you literally upload your logo, upload your photo, put your headline in, put your body copy, and it will format it in, put all your contact details and make it look beautiful for you. You can send to the media directly from the platform using your own email address so that all the responses will go into your inbox. And I've also got a section for you to do follow-up, because it's incredibly important that you follow up on your media releases, and where you can make notes about the journalist. And you won't believe it, but for only $397 a year. So anyway, I just wanted you to realize that it's actually priced in a way that definitely won't break the bank. So definitely do it, guys. $397 a year. I have got, I don't want to say hundreds of TV producers on there, but I've definitely got tens. I can think of about 60 that are in sort of the current affairs, women's interest contacts straight away. So that would be your best bet, and give it a go. And please do follow us on Facebook with Handle Your Own PR, and go and have a look at the website. Thank you all very much for joining me. Till